Let's begin by looking at some important data on jobs. 170 million jobs have been created over the last 10 years, according to data that was presented in the Lok Sabha by the Minister of State for Labour in the Lok Sabha by Shobha Karandlaje. And that was a written answer that she gave. But it provided data that was given by RBI, and it talked about how there have been 170 million jobs being created. One can always argue that, the basic purpose of a government is employment and employability, which is one of the key priorities of this government, because every expenditure of the government should be creating an impetus in the economy for growth, and that, of course, should be generating jobs. So if we look at the data behind me, we can see that in 2014-15, there were 471.5 million jobs that were around at that point of time, which has risen to 643.3 million jobs in 2023-24, as measured by the RBI over the last 10 years. Now, this measurement uses what we can see is what's called this model, which is the CLEMS model. The CLEMS model is the Capital, Labor, Energy, Material, Services database. It's a well-rounded database which covers all sectors, as we can see quite clearly. And there is the other form, which is also the Periodical Labor Force Survey, which is the official data source of the government. So these are different methods by which the government gets data on jobs. We can also see that the worker population ratio, the WPR, has been growing along with the economy. That's a sign that, of course, as growth is taking place, jobs are also being created. And there's the NCS portal, which is a career service portal of the government. And it shows that 10.9 million vacancies were posted in the year 2023-24. But if we look at 2015 onwards, we can see that there has been a total of 29 million, in fact, vacancies that have been filled up. So very clearly, we can see that on all fronts, the measurements seem to indicate that lots of jobs have been created in the economy. We can also understand that the Indian economy, of course, has been growing rapidly at around 8%. We can say clocking a growth of around 8%. That has naturally created jobs in the economy. And apart from that, it is positioning India for that big push, as India is looking at what's called the Amrit Kal, where it is pushing fast towards becoming a developed economy by the year 2047. So to understand the models that are involved and how this employment generation is actually helping the Indian economy, we have with us Dr. Amit Kapoor. He's the honorary chairman at the Institute of Competitiveness, a well-known economist, and he is a lecturer as well at Stanford University. Thanks, Dr. Amit Kapoor, for being with us. You know, what's the direct impact of 170 million jobs being generated? What does this do actually for productivity?
So, Mark, this is a very, very important question in terms of what's really happening. So what we really see here is that there is a boost in employment, and this boost in employment typically correlates with higher levels of economic activity. So we are definitely seeing that there is a higher level of economic activity at present. And that is also being shown through the numbers that we are seeing. And I would just like to share a few numbers here. And if you really look at the CLEMS database that was just released, and it is, of course, based on the PLFS data and the survey that the government of India does. So what we see is that there is a huge improvement in the gross value added across the board on business services. Like if you really look at from the period of 2014 to 2023, the employment has risen by about 6.75%, but the gross value added has increased by close to 15%. So this reflects that there is a significant boost in productivity that we are really seeing at this point in time. Mm-hmm. The other thing on agriculture, which has always been the pet peeve across the country or across the world, that their productivity is not increasing, but out here as well, we see vast improvement in productivity. The CAGR in employment is about 2%, exactly 1.97%. But the GVA growth is close to about 9.99%, which is effectively 10% itself. And this reflects an improvement in productivity per se. And of course, it could have happened because of mechanization and stuff that has happened, better productivity across the farm sector.
Right.
And if you really go deeper, and if you really look at the health and the social sector itself, what we do find is that in this period, the CAGR is about 5.23% over this time frame of 2014 until 2023. And there is this higher demand of services within the social space that we are seeing. Could be possible because we are seeing aging population which needs
Okay.
better services. There is a huge focus on the social welfare programs that the government is doing, and we are
Okay.
seeing that improvement. And
Fine.
last but not the least, if you really go deeper into the financial sector as well, we are seeing a massive what do you call employment growth as well of close to about 3.3%. You might not term it as massive, but what we are seeing is that the financial sector has been a fairly significant sector within the country, and we are seeing growth there. And
Right.
this is reflective of a expansion of the sector that we are seeing right now. So the financial services will continue to grow, and it is happening at the backdrop of what we would call as the Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, the
Yes.
JAM treaty thing,
Yes.
which has actually happened. So what we
Indeed.
see is that collectively, there is a significant boost in productivity that we are seeing over a period of time.
Also, Dr. Kapoor, what's the best way to measure job creation so that we can effectively value jobs that are being created in the unorganized sector as well?
So, this becomes again, this is an important step that the government will have to take in terms of how do we really look at the unorganized sector. We will have to look at data collection mechanism or effective capture of informal employment. Right now, we do have some surveys, but we will have to go deeper in terms of understanding the dynamics that exist here, of especially with the job creation within the unorganized sector. There are some other aspects, some strategies to understand job creation in the informal sector would be to better include serving informal enterprises. Because when you talk about informal enterprises, typically we might miss it. I'm sure that the PLFS design has happened in such a way that we look at these people, but we will have to go deeper in terms of understanding this as well. The other aspect which we are not talking about is about the quality of jobs. So we also have to find a way to assess the quality of jobs being created and what are the job security that has or
Okay.
we have.
Fair
What are the
enough.
working conditions? What are the income levels? Like in India, what we have seen over a period of time is that we have seen significant rise in gig work or gig workers. So they
Yes.
can be the informal people, but we have to find a better way of understanding what is
Absolutely,
happening
the
within
gig
that.
economy. Dr. Kapoor, also, since you did talk about higher value jobs and better paid jobs, do you see a growth of niche jobs, ones that, are driving innovation, creating new frontiers for the economy to enter? Because, I mean, entrepreneurs alone don't make things happen. People who have ideas, they lack capital and organization, and they take these ideas to the entrepreneurs who take it the distance. So these people are usually employed as innovators, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. So, this would be a wrong statement to make if at all that everybody is going to be an entrepreneur. There are entrepreneurs and there are people within enterprises who create some amazing products. In fact, one of our pet persons that we talk about is Sundar Pichai. Sundar Pichai is somebody who is employed with Google, but he created a lot of things. In fact, he created the Android thing itself. So there was a certain thing that was happening within the enterprise itself. So we can learn from those set of examples quite significantly that there are going to be people who are going to work on innovations within the enterprise itself. And the world tomorrow is effectively going to be about the Medici effect, wherein people who come with expertise of bringing two fields together will find unique set of solutions. Say, if you really ask, like when you talk about photography, very simply put, and the other one is going to be, say, something like art, culture, or whatever, then how can you create business enterprises with some certain unique skill sets that exist? So we are seeing that this is going to happen, and the government is also providing an impetus towards
Right.
that direction. So if you really look at the emerging opportunities in green, what do you call economy, there are going to be things which are going to get created across the value chain. There would be
Okay.
small enterprises that also get created. There are going to be people who will start enterprises or start some set of initiatives within the enterprise itself. And
Sure.
it is expected that 17 lakh, what I call direct jobs will get created across the solar value chain. And the innovations will be important. How do you make that process more efficient? And similar niche set of opportunities will exist in the biotech sector
Okay.
that you would see because biotech is all about innovation. So when you talk about a pharmaceutical enterprise or a biotech enterprise, he would have to find innovations within that space itself. So what
Sure.
we are seeing is even fintech for that matter. Fintech will also see some creation of unique set of products over a period of time. So
Sure. You've mentioned
innovators.
the word tech so many times. Stay with us, Dr. Kapoor, because our next story is talking about the tech